Welcome to Soul Stories, where every tale touches the heart, inspires the mind, and stays with the soul. The night was unusually calm over the Iron Viper's MC compound, a stillness that felt almost unnatural. The sky above was painted in shades of deep violet, the kind of night where danger could hide in any shadow. Blade, the president of the Iron Vipers, stood outside the clubhouse, arms crossed, watching the moon rise slowly. He was waiting for a message, a simple "I'm home" from his daughter, Lana. She never missed it. Not once. But tonight, there was nothing. Blade checked his phone again. Empty. A heavy unease settled in his gut. Lana wasn't just his daughter. She was the heart of the club. Tough, stubborn, fearless. She grew up around roaring engines, leather jackets, and men who would die for her. She could handle herself better than most bikers twice her age. But something felt wrong tonight. Terribly wrong. He tried calling. It rang once, twice, then stopped. Silence. Blade's jaw tightened. His instincts, honed by years of leading dangerous men through dangerous wars, screamed that this wasn't a simple delay. Something had happened. Something bad. Within minutes, the club was mobilized. The rumble of engines broke the quiet night as the Vipers split into teams, searching the routes Lana usually took home. Flashlights cut through the darkness, and every shadow became a threat point. 30 minutes later, they found her motorcycle. It lay on its side near the old warehouse district, an area abandoned years ago, now crawling with criminals, smugglers, and ghosts no one talked about. Lana's helmet was still attached to the handlebars, untouched. There were no signs of a struggle, no skid marks, no blood. Too clean, too intentional. Blade crouched beside the bike, running a hand over the cold metal. His breathing slowed. His eyes sharpened. Whoever did this wanted him to find it. Wanted him to understand this was a message. And then his phone buzzed. A single text. Unknown number. Stay out of my business, or you'll never see her again. The rage hit him like a strike of lightning. His vision blurred for a moment. Not from fear. Blade was not afraid of anything, but from the fury burning through him. Someone had taken his daughter. Someone had dared to cross the Iron Vipers. He stood, voice low but shaking with controlled violence. Get everyone back here, he ordered. Now. Within minutes, the Vipers surrounded him, boots planted, eyes cold, ready for war. No one spoke. They didn't need to. Every man knew what came next. Someone had crossed a line no one survives crossing. Tonight, the hunt began. Lana woke slowly, her vision blurred as a dull ache pulsed behind her eyes. The first thing she noticed was the cold. The room was freezing, the kind of cold that crept into your bones and made breathing feel heavier. A single bulb flickered overhead, casting unstable shadows across the stained concrete floor. Her wrists burned. She was tied to a chair, thick rope, tight knots. Not amateur work. As her eyes adjusted, she saw him, Ragnar, the infamous street dealer. A man feared not because he was strong, but because he was unpredictable, cruel. The kind of man who smiled while destroying lives. He stepped out of the shadows, tall and broad, his leather coat dragging lightly across the floor. He circled her slowly, like a predator savoring its trapped prey. Well, he said, his voice dripping with satisfaction. The princess of the Iron Vipers finally wakes up. Lana didn't flinch. Her face was calm, controlled, just the way her father taught her. Show no fear. Give nothing. Ragnar crouched to her level, bringing his scarred face inches from hers. Your father took something from me, he hissed. His breath smelled of smoke and chemicals. Millions. A shipment that was supposed to change everything for me. Instead, he burned it to the ground. He tapped a finger under her chin. So now, I take something from him. Lana met his gaze with steady, unbroken eyes. She refused to give him the satisfaction of fear. Inside, she could feel her pulse racing, but she shut it out. Panic was useless. Observation was everything. She scanned the room. One door behind Ragnar. A metal table with tools she didn't like the look of. A vent above, too small to use. 2 cameras in opposite corners. A guard outside. Judging by the occasional shadow under the door, every detail mattered. Ragnar noticed her watching. He grinned. Smart girl. Just like your father. Too bad he won't find you in time. But Lana knew something Ragnar didn't. Her father didn't stop until he got what he wanted. And when the Iron Vipers were on the hunt, hell followed. Meanwhile, back in the city, Chaos spread like wildfire. Blade had unleashed every viper on the streets. Bars, alleys, corners, drug dens. Nothing was off limits. They grabbed Ragnar's dealers, runners, anyone connected to him. Some lied, some resisted, but the vipers had their own methods, and by sunrise, every whisper pointed to one place. Ragnar's fortress of a warehouse at the edge of the city. The vipers were coming, and they were coming angry. Lana didn't know it yet, but her rescue had already begun. Midnight crept across the city like a dark wave, but at the edge of town, the silence was shattered by the low thunder of motorcycle engines. One by one, the iron vipers rolled into position, their headlights cutting through the fog that clung to Ragnar's compound. The warehouse sat like a fortress, high metal walls, boarded windows, guards pacing with weapons. But none of that mattered. Tonight, Blade wasn't leading a club, he was leading a storm. He raised his hand. Every engine went silent at once. The vipers spread out with military precision, snipers on the shipping crates, breachers by the side doors, heavy hitters at the main entrance. Their faces were cold, focused, fueled by a single purpose: bring Lana home. End Ragnar for good. On the inside, Lana heard faint noises, shuffling, distant thuds, whispers of footsteps. Her pulse quickened. She knew the Viper's rhythm. She knew their silence. Hope flickered like a spark. Ragnar didn't notice. He was pacing angrily, phone in hand, screaming at his men for updates they couldn't give. "Where are they?" he barked. "They should have been here hours ago." When he turned, he saw Lana smirking just slightly. It enraged him. He grabbed a knife from the table and pressed it against her throat. Not deep, but enough to show he wasn't bluffing. "You think your father is coming?" he snarled. "You think he scares me?" Before Lana could answer, a sound split the air. Boom. The front gate blew open, and then the thunder returned. The roar of motorcycles flooded the courtyard as the Vipers stormed in from every direction. Guards scrambled, shouting orders, but it was too late. The club hit like a tidal wave, silent no more. Inside, Ragnar jerked toward the door, knife raised. Crash. The metal door flew off its hinges as Blade kicked it open with a force fueled by pure fury. His eyes locked on the knife at Lana's throat, and something inside him snapped. "Touch her," Blade growled, "and you die where you stand." Chaos erupted instantly. Steel clashed, fists flew, bodies hit the concrete. The Vipers fought like shadows, fast, ruthless, coordinated. Chains swung, boots struck, and every hit carried the weight of rage they'd held since Lana disappeared. Ragnar panicked. He shoved Lana's chair, sending her crashing to the floor, and sprinted toward the back exit. But he never made it far. When he burst through the door, he froze. Half a dozen Vipers were waiting in the alley, arms folded, weapons drawn, faces calm and deadly. He had run straight into their trap. His fate was sealed. By the time Blade reached his daughter, the battle was already ending. The compound was silent again, this time under Iron Viper control, and Ragnar had nowhere left to run. Lana's ropes were barely off before she stumbled forward and crashed into her father's arms. Blade wrapped her tightly against his chest, one hand cradling the back of her head like she was still his little girl. For a moment, the world fell silent. The gunshots, the shouting, the chaos, all of it faded. "You're safe now," Blade whispered, voice rough with everything he'd held back since her disappearance. Lana nodded, swallowing hard. She was shaken, exhausted, bruised, but unbroken. She'd survived, and as long as the Iron Vipers breathed, she would never face danger alone. Around them, the club formed a protective circle, standing guard like a wall of steel and leather. No one got close. No one even tried. The Vipers weren't just a club tonight. They were a family defending one of their own. Moments later, two Vipers dragged Ragnar into the center of the courtyard. The once feared dealer was barely recognizable, defeated, terrified, his arrogance completely shattered. He looked nothing like the ruthless predator who had paced around Lana hours earlier. Now, he was the prey. "Blade, wait, we can make a deal," Ragnar stammered, falling to his knees. "Money, drugs, shipments, anything you want. Just let me walk away." Blade stepped forward, slow and deliberate. Every Viper watched him, waiting. The air felt heavy, charged with years of unspoken rules, and the one rule everyone knew: you don't touch family. Ever. Blade locked eyes with Ragnar, and his voice came out steady, cold, final. You threatened my daughter. You kidnapped her. You crossed a line no man survives crossing. Ragnar's lips trembled. He tried to speak, but his voice cracked. Why you don't have to, that, Blade cut in, was your last mistake. The Vipers didn't need more words. Justice was handled their way, clean, quiet, absolute. Ragnar's reign ended that night, and the club made sure every trace of his operation burned to ashes by sunrise. Every lab, gone. Every stash, destroyed. Every dealer, scattered or fleeing the city to BY early morning. The streets carried a whisper that spread like wildfire. Never lay a hand on the Viper president's daughter. The price is always paid in blood. That AS dawn painted the sky gold and orange. The Iron Vipers rolled out of the compound in a tight formation. Lana rode between them, protected on all sides. The engines rumbled not with anger now, but with relief, a deep, shared exhale after a long night of war. Blade looked over at his daughter riding beside him. Chin high, spirit unbroken. Pride warmed his chest. They rode home together, stronger, closer, and more united than ever. Family restored, justice delivered. The legend of the Iron Vipers stronger than before.